Hi Nancy, it is wonderful to connect with you and meet you. You submitted a brilliant question for the Q&A with Sade, and so I would love to ask you to share with us what that question was.
So my question to you is, how to just stay positive with negative people? Like, is it possible to just stay positive because there are so many negative people around you?
And it's such a great question, and one that I have no doubt so many people will be interested in. The 3 tips I want to take you through. The first one is, when it comes to attitude and managing negativity, you need to remind yourself that you are in control. No one can make you feel something without you giving them consent. And so the same principle is, we need to remind ourselves that if we're allowing people to make us feel a certain way, then we also have the power to turn that off, to acknowledge that, okay, there are certain behavioral processes and factors that will lead me to feel a certain way, but I don't have to be a passenger in that. I can consciously decide to reclaim power and control, and change what I'm telling myself about myself, to change what I'm saying, and to change my general attitude. So the first one is really making sure that we don't fall into that victim mentality. Once we have empowered ourselves to make sure that we create that separation, the second part is around acknowledging that if there are certain people at work who emotionally trigger you or are particularly negative, it's important to think about, why am I so triggered when I'm around them? And then the next level up is to ask yourself, do I feel like one of my values are being violated here? And if I do, what is that? And sometimes, people have values around collaboration, unity, working together, or, having a positive attitude. And if you find other people don't understand that or align with that, then you feel like that's being violated within you. So you take some time to do a bit of self-assessment. What's going on for me? Why am I feeling that? The third tip, you want to pep talk yourself. Give yourself a pep talk. And what this means is, okay, if you know that there are people at work, they have behaviors that are negative or toxic, before you have to interact with them, give yourself a pep talk, which means it's almost like you become your internal coach. You tell yourself, okay, I know I'm going into a situation where this person is probably going to do this and say this and be like this. I'm reminding myself I'm in control of how I feel. I don't need to become a passenger in that process and be sucked into that negative spiral. But I'm going to boost myself back up. What that also does, when you're reinforcing these things, you're mentally preparing yourself for entering that environment. And this is assuming you can't change the person. I mean, it's great if you can go in and be positive, because the other benefit of emotional contagion is, if you're interacting with someone with behaviors that might be negative and you're optimistic and empowering and positive, you might be able to influence them through the same process as emotional contagion, where their mirror neurons interpret what you're experiencing. But we know that's not always the case. So where you know that, you've got these people at work and you've got to interact with them, having a mantra really helps. And how you can develop your mantra is, okay, how do I feel when I'm around these people? Do I feel disempowered? Do they make me unhappy? Do they make me question what I'm doing with my life? You come up with a positive affirmation that becomes a mantra that counters that. So let's say there are people at work who make you doubt yourself, and you start to feel like you're not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not talented enough. This report isn't good enough. You come up with a very basic mantra of, I am enough. I know I am enough. I have a proven track record that says I am enough. So when you're in these environments where someone is saying something or doing something, you actually repeat this mantra to yourself, and instantly, because you're consciously repeating something to yourself, you're reactivating your prefrontal cortex, which is front part of your brain, which is used for rationality and logic and decision making. You're re-engaging that part, bringing the oxygen back, so you can maintain your emotional state and you're not as triggered as you might be. What we often find is, when we're feeling down about ourselves, so when our self-worth has dropped, and it could be because we're spending time with these people who have very negative qualities and they make us doubt ourselves or become unhappy, we tend to be more critical of others and pay more attention to their faults and their shortcomings. But also we know that when you're more critical of others, you're also more critical of yourself. So we want to make sure that we're not getting sucked into this negativity, then also thinking badly about ourselves and then being hypercritical towards everyone else.
Thank you so much for answering my question.
No, you're so welcome. Thank you again for submitting such a great one. And I really wish you all the very best when it comes to navigating this in the future. You must keep me posted with how you go.